Donna Vee, and I'm here with Camp Quarantine, and I am not alone, but don't worry, we are socially distancing. And look at these handsome devils, generations of handsome men on a day where we're celebrating and commemorating and remembering our veterans. Please welcome the American losers, but they're not losers. That's just their podcast. KP&LP Burke. I should have my clap.
Happy to be here, Donna. Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is great.
Yeah.
We're here to fix
Happy
what
Memorial Day to you, and
thank you. Happy Memorial Day to you, and thank you, KP, for your service.
I had a good time. I didn't really do much, but thank you.
Well, you joined, and a lot of people don't even have the, they don't have the inclination to do that. So thank you. My Aunt Cecilia's here already, and she said, "Hello, boys."
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Now the ladies are going to start piling in because they know that you're here today. So, my uncle's here too. My Uncle Charlie. Nice to see you.
Hey, Uncle Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie. Oh man.
You've met him. You've definitely met them at a comedy show, KP.
Oh, beautiful. Victor
Ponte's in the room. What's up? He said, "This is some trio."
Good man, Victor.
I know. Victor, didn't you just get engaged? I think he did. Congratulations. And if it's the wrong person, well, I'm not telling you to do it because it's not for me. But if you did, congratulations. Hi, Daria. Hey, what's going on? Frank's in the room. My mom is here. She said, "Thank you for your service." So excited. Everybody's pouring in. KP drinking out of a boot. That's right, he is.
Das Boot, Das Boot.
Das Boot. That's
actually a true story. I bought this in Germany. When I got back from Dubai, I was deployed over there with Maritime Security Squadron 10. And you stop in Germany, and everybody goes over, and you're allowed 2 beers when you're in Germany, waiting for your flight to come home.
Okay.
And what you do is you find somebody that doesn't drink, and then they give you their 2 beers as well. So we did this, and then I was drinking. We bought absinthe in the airport, like dumb tourists. So
I don't even know what that is. Is it like something that gets you high or something?
The original old school version had wormwood in it, which could cause hallucinations and stuff. They're not allowed to make it with that anymore. So really, it's like buying candy cigarettes over there, I guess.
Something for the tourists to bring home.
Yeah.
The tourists. So I want to ask you guys a little bit about your podcast. I'm really excited about it. It's about the second place winners. Is that what it is? It's not. Can you just talk about it? Tell us about it.
Well, before quarantine, Donna was actually one of our scheduled guests.
I know.
That's right. That's right.
I almost read a book.
That's
almost did some homework, huh?
It was no, it's cool. So the show started as a book idea I had. I wanted to write a book about all the people who, I don't have to give away the whole. I still might do the book, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
But, so the concept was people who are in American history that don't get like their due. Like you said, all of your experience in history was from school, right? You never, nothing extracurricular.
No, I mean, maybe like a category on Jeopardy or something. That's pretty much
I like that.
That you just fell into.
Exactly. Or I did chaperone a school trip, and we did go to Washington, D.C., and I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty great. But just growing up as a kid, though, we had like all these historical family trips and stuff, and there'd be like a marker on the side of a road or something. You're like, oh, wow, a bunch of people fought and died here, and no one knows anything about it. You kind of want to know the story. So we're telling stories that don't get the limelight like they deserve.
That's incredible. I think it's pretty awesome, actually. I've been reading to kids and stuff in the morning, and one of the reasons why I wanted to have you both on was inspired by me finding this book from my childhood. And
there you go.
Mm-hmm. I told you you'd recognize it.
Yeah, you totally recognize it.
Absolutely. I got a few of those in the basement right now.
Yeah, this was like from when I was a kid, and I have to tell you, like, I just remembered looking at the pages and wanting to color them in because I was like, why wouldn't they color them in? but I was like, this would be so cool to talk to you guys about. How did you get your love of history? And I'm talking to LP now.
Oh, yeah.
I always had a love for history. And I guess part of that is, too, because as a kid, I would be dragged along with my mom and my aunt and my grandmother to these various day trips in the car. You know, when were of that age, you had no choice in the matter as to whether you were going to stay home, because there was no leaving the kids home. It was just get in the car and we're going. And but they had a love of history, and my mom was an avid reader of historical novels and stuff, which kind of got me involved. And then later on, we would always do a lot of family camping. And the running joke was, if we go on a family vacation and it doesn't involve a battlefield or a fort somewhere along the line, something went wrong.
That's amazing.
Other kids got Disneyland and Disney World, and Kevin, his sister Carrie, got Fort Ticonderoga or Gettysburg or something else. Yeah.
I loved camping as a kid. We would stay at like KOAs, and one of the places we went to was Virginia. And I remember staying back at the campsite on a swing because I didn't want to go to the historic site, and I was afraid of going to on many rides. So I literally stayed because I like to be in the woods and do all that stuff. But right. I wish I would have gone because I was there, and it's like, yeah, my mom wasn't forcing me. She was like, whatever, do what you want.
Yeah, you were talking before about being a chaperone on a school trip going to Washington, D.C.
It was amazing.
I can remember when Kevin and Carrie, we took them to Washington as a family.
For reference, Carrie is my ne'er-do-well sister.
Yes, I know that. For everybody else. Yeah.
Ne'er-do-well. But I mean, I think it was Kevin who had just studied something about Washington, D.C. in class, in school. And we got up out of the metro, from the metro station, and come up into the middle of the center of Washington, D.C. And like, you look, well, there's the White House. Look the other way. There's the Capitol building. Look the other way. There's the Smithsonian Institute and stuff. So there we were on the mall, and he was wowed. The Washington Monument is all there. So he was tripping on that one.
I was completely wowed. That's someplace we never went, and I never went with the school trip myself. So my daughter was in choir, and we went, and they actually sang on Memorial Day weekend. We were there for all the festivities, and we saw the fireworks, and we sat on Capitol Hill and watched as everything was going on, and it was really moving. And I'm blanking on where they sang. It was a pretty major place, and I swear to God, I'm blanking on the name of where they sang, but I'm gonna message her right now and ask her. And but it was so cool to see like the Abe Lincoln, the Lincoln Memorial.
Lincoln Memorial, yeah.
That thing was humongous. It was amazing, and I don't know, it was surreal. It was really cool to go there and see all the everything. It was just wow, yeah.
I remember too later on. Through Boy Scouts, Kev was one of the few that was able to lay a wreath on the Tomb of the Unknown, which was the unknown soldier in Arlington National Cemetery. So that was a pretty special special treat too. Yeah, I mean, to read about it or somebody tell you about it is one thing, but to actually be there and experience it is it's a whole nother, gives you a whole nother sense, a whole nother level. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
It was amazing. It was a truly amazing experience. And I would love to go back because like, you can't even imagine, like there's so much to see. There's so much to see.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Don, you said current events earlier, right?
Yeah. Well, what I said was, I just hope you guys don't try to quiz me because I didn't really absorb a lot of stuff from history. So it's okay because I've learned to really embrace them as current events. So every time I learn something, I am wowed pretty easily. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm okay with it. Like I'm okay with it,
Sometimes, and by the way, being wowed, it's that doesn't go away with the history thing too. Because I think the coolest thing that we dive into with American Losers, the name of the podcast, available on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, everything you got.
Yes,
so my father's the old man's the heart of the show. I got to be the business end.
No.
But
no way.
But the coolest thing though is that your jaw never stops dropping when you read about some of the shit that went down. I got a trailer mouth. I apologize.
It's okay. It's 8:05. We're fine. It's nighttime.
All right. So well, now that we got that out of the
now lit.
Yeah. No, you can say whatever you want. I mean, it's not like that.
Fair enough. There was one story in particular very early on. If anybody's curious about the show, wants to get an idea, even if you're not a history person, I think my father and I were texting each other just holy shit, back and forth about this one particular guy by the name of Dan Sickles.
Okay.
And in that very same spot we were talking about down in D.C., in plain view of everybody, he shot and killed the man who was sleeping with his wife. And that man happened to be the son of the guy who wrote the Star Spangled Banner.
Wow.
Yep. And the guy who did the shooting, Dan Sickles, was also a congressman at the time. And it's pretty wild. The more things change, the more they stay the same, is how we kind of go.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy was a congressman from New York, had a long background of being a rather shady character to begin with. And he shoots and kills his wife's lover in Lafayette Park, which is directly across the street from the White House. So within view of the White House, he's shooting this guy dead in midday. And then it was actually the first to get out of it by pleading temporary insanity. He was the first to use the temporary insanity. So like that one little line that you might read about somebody in your high school history book, when you really start scratching the surface, and it's like Kevin says, those jaw drop moments are like, holy crap, really?
Yeah.
Really? And then all the interconnects with other people that you may have heard of remotely, or, again, just in passing, but they're all interconnected, that one knows the other one, that, this guy Sickles was involved with Mary Todd Lincoln, the president's wife, and her whole belief in the what was the term of the time?
The occult is what you're thinking
occult,
of.
Right. Yeah, but all these different interconnects, and this guy Sickles later goes on to serve.
Don't give it all away, dude. We're trying to get listeners,
right.
you jerk.
Okay.
No, but that's pretty cool. I'm like sitting here like, on the edge of my seat. Like, wait, what? What happened?
Let's not turn this into a American Loser podcast, but yeah, it's worth a listen. It's worth a listen.
What a better day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is perfect. This is like my PBS special that I'm putting on, like, because I feel like I actually am on TV, but I'm in just some weird delusional world that we're all in right now. How are you handling everything that's going on, you guys?
What's going on?
Exactly. I love that. And I never sleep, Danny. My friend just said, do you ever sleep? No, I really don't. I just came back from a 5-mile hike, and I was like wowed at like what the pictures I could take with my iPhone. But I get wowed very easily. But so branch of the service, you were in the Navy, correct?
I was in the Navy, yes.
Right. Now let me show you. I have something, a little bragging rights to show you. So the way that you and I met was through comedy.
Yes.
And for anybody out there that's wondering how I met these two geniuses, because we're not hanging out at the same lunch table. I'll tell you that right now. I have no idea what the hell's going on.
I wouldn't be allowed to sit with you because you were part of the cool kids. And
no,
I
was not. I was totally not. I could bust out my yearbook. I was not part of the cool kids.
You know how normally people say that, and you're like, "Come on, you're just being, you're putting yourself down." Donna showed me the picture, Dad. It's legit.
It's legit. I was like such a nerd in school, and no, not at all. So, no, I got to perform comedy for the Navy several times, actually down in Philadelphia. I hosted a few shows. Tracy was headlining. She's got a great connection down there, being from Philly, and so we performed down for the Navy. And this is my big mistake. Then we performed for the Coast Guard. And then the Coast Guard was when they were furloughed, and we went to go like raise their spirits and stuff. And they gave us, as a thank you, one of my prized possessions, which I carry.
Right.
I carry I carry it with me all the time, right? And I love this. This is like such an honor to have. So I go down to the Navy after performing at the Navy 3 times. And then I literally take this and I have it like in my bra, or I think I was wearing the pink dress. I had it like in my shorts, like stuck under my shorts. And I'm up on stage and I'm like talking. I think I made like a joke about, their insignia, their emblem, the shield. I think there's like a rooster. Isn't it a rooster? Wait, what am I thinking of?
Well, typically it's an eagle for American stuff.
Yeah, right.
Somebody else. There's something else that has a rooster.
It's not the American chicken. It's not the American rooster. Typically, they go with the American eagle, but
There's something else then. There's something else. I have it mixed up. I'm telling you.
I just had a foghorn leghorn flash there. It's not a chicken
But I
son.
made a joke and it didn't go over too well because I was like, hey guys, I've been here 3 times. I'm like, I go over to I was like, I go over and perform for the Coast Guard once and look what they gave me. And they were like, everybody was like silent. I thought they would at least laugh and maybe like somebody would toss me a coin or something. And they were like, no.
Yeah.
They did not.
Pulling out the Coast Guard challenge coin in a Navy venue is not, not recommended.
Proving to you that there's no malicious intent there. I just was clueless.
Yeah.
No, that's coins are a big part of the military. Actually, every command has a couple of them they put out, and then there's ones for like deployments and stuff too. So
Yeah.
that is a sharp looking coin, by the
Isn't
way.
it beautiful?
Did I ever tell you the story, Donna? This is 1,000% true.
Let's hear it.
I tried to join the Coast Guard first, technically.
Okay.
I knew I was going to wind up serving in the military. I kind of just had to do it. I was a GI Joe nut as a kid, and my grandpa was a World War II veteran, and he was like my hero. So I couldn't wait to hear stories from him and stuff. But I knew I was going to join. And my junior year of high school, I went to a meeting that a recruiter came from the National Guard, and I was all amped up to join the National Guard. And my parents were obviously, as you'd be nervous for your 17-year-old kid to be talking about the military.
Yeah.
So we put that on ice for a little bit. And then I was looking into it. I said, I want to go Coast Guard instead, because their concern was that the war on terror was raging at that point. That's like the height of Fallujah and everything.
Yeah.
And so I walked into a recruiting office in Newark, New Jersey for the Coast Guard. And I was very excited. I was looking forward to it. And the guy goes, have you ever broken any bones? And I said, yes. And they needed me to provide proof that the bone healed properly. They needed the doctor who admitted me to the ER to write a letter saying I'm good to go. They needed another doctor to evaluate all this crazy paperwork. And so then I couldn't find any of that stuff. Half the doctors weren't practicing anymore. And right next door to the Coast Guard recruiter was a Navy recruiter. So I walked in there and he goes, you ever broken any bones before? No.
Oh my God,
Right.
that's wild.
Lesson learned.
I didn't tell them the full truth, but I knew that I was in good health. So that's why I wound up in the Navy as opposed to the Coast Guard.
That's a wild story.
It's
That's
true.
crazy. No, but that's awesome. But I thought you were gonna be like, it was just too much paperwork for me. So I was like, I'll go to the Navy.
The joke on the paperwork was that when you're filling out, it's a form. They ask you like every personal question you can ever get asked. It was not as in-depth as the Salon Gossip new client survey. But yeah, it was interesting. My recruiter told me whenever I would ask him a question, be like, hey, I think I smoked a cigarette once. Should I say that? And then he just goes, remember, Burke, yes means your enlistment stops. No means Navy opportunities. So I learned the importance of fudging facts very quickly, thanks to our government.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. I'm going to hit myself with some background light here, too, I think.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're fading to black there, bub.
You're going into the witness protection program instead.
It's it.
Hey.
I really want to
There you
know
go.
where my daughter, I'm calling her. She's going to be like, are you seriously calling me right now? But I'm going to call her because I need to know where she performed because I know that you'll be like happy with it.
Which daughter?
Courtney.
I know both your kids are great, by the way.
Thank you. Hey, what's up? I'm on the air, but I want to ask you a question. Where did you perform again in Washington? I can't remember.
Oh, good question. Where did I perform in Washington, D.C.?
You sang. It was a really prestigious building.
The Kennedy Center?
Kennedy Center.
Wow.
Yeah. See, I knew that.
Kennedy Center.
And where did you guys sing that we put the wreaths and stuff?
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Ask her if it was the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. It might have been.
Oh, wait. It was a Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Yeah,
It's like a big circle?
it can be.
No, I mean
It's
like
a-
the place was a huge circle.
It's a half round, really. It's a open air amphitheater, marble.
Where they have like like each state's name was there.
Each state's name was there.
And I don't know.
Yeah, we stood by New Jersey.
And we
Hang on, is this Miss America pageant? Is that what we're talking about?
All right, go have fun. Do what you got to do. Be a kid. Love you. Bye.
Maintain fashion.
No,
KP, I just lost your audio.
You lost KP?
How about now?
I hear you.
Larry's. Oh, my mic is muted. It says that's
No.
weird.
I did it really quick. I tried to like shake it around.
I lost audio.
You lost audio on your. Oh no. Check your plug. Hello.
I'm here if you're here.
You're here.
So good.
We could have secret questions right now. I
Also
feel like
true.
He's in the, what do you call it? The what is it on those rooms? He can't hear us. Oh.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm maybe 10 feet away from him, and I have no problem.
I don't know.
Weird. So we'll see.
He looks good. And this too, I wanted to show you. My grandfather was in the Army. This is from 1934, and I wear it.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool?
That looks like a nautical star. That's very cool. So that looks like a fire axe and maybe a maul.
I don't know. All I know is that it was my grandfather's, and I wear it on a chain.
See, that's good stuff there.
1934.
1930. No shit. That's my father, by the way, just opened up the sliding door. He wanted to see if my stuff's working. Why isn't his
adorable.
stuff? So
That's adorable. My mom goes, tell him to move. I have to tell you, it is a proven fact that as you get older, even if you don't gain that much weight, your neck gets bigger. Because this never was this tight on me. I'll tell you that right now.
Donna, I'm sure the viewers at home can attest to this. My entire life, I've never had a neck, ever. It just doesn't exist.
Well, and I will tell you that I wore this because of your comment on your podcast about not being able to grow a mustache.
That's the worst part.
It looks a lot like your dad's.
I'll tell you what, if you can give me 2 seconds here, if you want to read some of your comments or something, what I'll do is I'll pop in there. LP. Yeah, LP, can you hear it all?
LP.
Still no good?
All right, go check on him.
Let's fix him.
We'll just look at him. So let's see, what do we have here? Who's in the room? Hey, Chris Quigley, what's going on? Pete, my brother says that KP is a new pit bull. And yes, life is one big circle. I don't really sleep a lot. So KP was in the Navy, Peter. His dad did not serve. His dad is just a huge history buff. Therefore, that is how they decided to develop their podcast, which you should listen to on iTunes and iCloud and Apple Podcasts. And it is called American Loser Podcast. It's awesome. They talk about the fact that there's only history about people that were first place in history. And in fact, they talk about the second place winners. Yeah, their podcast is very cool. Let's see. You lost audio on my show this afternoon. That was Papa's. This is Papa's. Yep. So I don't know, but they have some really nice sounding birds in their yard. You hear that? I went for a 5-mile hike today with my friend Suzanne Stein. We were in Cedar Grove, and it was absolutely beautiful out today. And it was honestly incredible to just get outside, walk around, be in nature. I totally like enjoyed it. And I would suggest that hiking trail to anyone that likes hiking trails. Part of, I forget the name of it. Is it a Lenny Lenape tour? I mean, Lenny Lenape trail, not tour. There's KP Burke coming out of his sliding doors, like as if it's show curtains. This is 1934, I thought it said on there. And now Dad is, for whatever reason, I don't know what happened. Is he gone?
It's hard to figure out what's going on with his internet in there. So,
is it his internet?
Well, it's weird because he's got streaming, and then he left the chat. Right? I'm not seeing him anymore on here.
Gone. He tried to sign back in, and it came up blank. So
Well, I'll tell him to maybe just leave this and go back into the link. Maybe that'll work. So
You could try to do that. I actually had him removed him so he could try to come back in. Sorry about that. I apologize.
it ain't you. I guarantee you it's us. So there's
Well,
that.
you don't know that, but that's a great song. It Ain't You, Babe. That's a Bob Dylan song. I love that song.
It is. It's I'll tell you what, give me a couple seconds here to try to square him up, and then worst case scenario, I'll just put him next to me on my laptop.
Perfect. Whatever you guys want to do.
Easy day.
I'll just talk to myself. I do that. It's easy.
Yeah, I mean, just maybe we could bring Sean Morton in or something.
Oh, no, I'm not even laughing at that. Does Judith live on Church Street? I don't know who Judith is, but was that for me? I don't know. Yes, he's in the soundproof booth. I hope everyone is having a nice day. It's a beautiful sunset out here. I actually went, like I said, and hiked, and it was quite lovely. I don't know what's happening. But we're going with the flow. That's what we're doing. And
he is working on it, so we're gonna have some stuff. He's fixing it shortly. He's gonna try to join back in.
Okay. While he's gone, what do you want to talk about?
I had something cool I actually wanted to show you real quick. I pulled out. You're the first person I get to show this to. So my Uncle Paul, he lives down the north end of the Jersey Shore, and I'm tight with him. I was down there at his house for a couple of days during quarantine, and he dug out some stuff from his cousin, who, wow, my lighting is terrible out here, huh?
Yeah, you turn around so that the light's on your face.
Yeah, we could do that too. That's I had everything set up nice inside, and then that friggin' jerk of a father of mine ruined everything. But no, so this was his cousin was a veteran he was an older cousin kind of a thing, but I think it was World War II time frame, and he went into the military, and he joined the Navy, and a bunch of his old stuff my uncle decided to give to me because I collect a lot of this stuff.
Oh, wow.
And I thought this was hilarious. The Public Affairs Committee, who would be like the public safety people, like the people that warn you about the dangers of drugs and alcohol kind of a thing. This was a pamphlet handed out to GIs during the World War II Korea time frame.
Let's check it out. What about girls? That is hilarious.
Yeah, and it is, I'll try to find them here if I can, but it was, there's, I'll tell you what, I'm curious because I don't know what's exactly in this, but I'm going to read one paragraph randomly. Is that okay?
Of course.
All right. The Pickup Bride. I'd like to tell you two about the one man in 10 that was infected by his wife. That marriage was as casual as a pickup. They had never met before his buddy introduced them to a juke joint near camp. They had no common roots. The girl wandered from one camp town to another looking for work, and she had syphilis in an infectious stage when she was married.
Oh my God.
So that's the stuff they do to warn people about everything.
Crazy. Read another one.
I'm reading. Now let's see here. Random page. Oh boy. You want to guess what? This is back then, but potentially still accurate too. The syphilis infections of those examined for Army service. That's not even all the branches of the military, and it's not even people in. It's people that are attempting to enter the service.
Okay. The
national average around this time was 45.2 for every 1,000 people. So the highest state, I'll tell you what, we'll do this. The lowest state was New Hampshire, who had 5.8 cases for every 1,000 people. And Florida had the highest at 170 per every 1,000. So good old Florida doing work.
Florida, party town, Florida. Go down there, drink, go to the beach, and get some syphilis.
And not for nothing, guess where I spent the duration of my 6-year Navy career?
I'm going to guess it was Florida, but you don't have syphilis, right?
I mean, anymore. So that's half the battle there.
That is half the battle.
I'm trying to figure out a way to get the old man back in. Is there anything we need to do to add him back to the show? Or
I don't know. I'm afraid to I could try to reload the page. I did it this morning when I didn't have sound, but I'm afraid I'll lose your sound.
I'll tell you what, if you lose me, what I'll do is I'll sit next to him and we'll bring it back up on my laptop.
Everybody hold your breath. Let's cross your fingers. Let's see what happens. And let's go. Okay. Where you are, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So
And
now we got to see if your dad can sign back in.
all right, I'm going to tell him to. Here's what we'll do. I'll have him click out and click back in, start from scratch, and see if we can't get him going here.
Perfect.
So, hey, for those who are curious, my father used to teach technology education. So
He's adorable. LPKP. Danny, no, I went with my friend Suzanne, and we went hiking, and she's not from Church Street, but that's funny because my dad lives on Church Street. But no, I went up to in Cedar Grove. There was an amazing walking trail at a park that they just, I guess, a couple of years ago, maybe 5 years ago, built. And now there's like so many homes that are going on. What was that? That was scary. Did you hear that? Is that a firework? You heard that, right? Anybody? You heard that, right? This is so strange. It was either a firework, a gun. The birds are, it sounded like a gun or an accident. Well, this is a strange development. I will tell you. I've never had anything like this. Okay, here comes KP.
Donna Vee, I got news, girl.
Was there an accident?
Huh? You heard that.
What was that? We all thought that like there was a car accident or gunshot. You had to see my face.
That was well, the joy of living where we live is that people enjoy shooting fireworks at all times. So that's why you probably heard my dog running away. So
Well, we were all, if you look at the comments, it was like everybody wrote, "Oh my God." And then I'm like, what was that? And then somebody was like, gun. And my mother's like, it sounded like a car accident. And then I was like, oh my God, is this really happening right now? What is going on?
start talking, LP.
I'm sorry that my computer crapped out. I don't know what happened there.
Don't worry about it. I'm just happy. I think KP did it because he was like, I don't want to have to share the screen with that handsome devil. Yeah. He's like, I can't grow a mustache, and I don't want my father stealing my thunder.
Now he's wrecking the place.
Look, I wore this in honor of you. It's a mood. You're shaped like a mustache.
Better get that baby going then.
Because I know that's something KP always complains about.
Well, because Don,
did you hear that? Somebody wrote, did you hear about the guy on Zoom and his son killed him on Zoom? That's crazy. Wait, I wonder if I can give you guys more space. Let me see.
There you go.
That does not work. I could see you smaller, but I could see you both.
Okay.
It's you tell me if it's working, because audio we can be quite compelling.
No, you are quite compelling and you're together, but I'm saying if I go like this, then I see only half of your faces. Oh, how about that?
Ooh, wow. Look at you.
What the heck?
Horizontal format.
I am amazing. Somebody wants to talk about fire safety. So since we're all coming out of quarantine, maybe we talk about fire safety. Our research has shown 9 out of 10 American households have smoke detectors and are in need of 9-volt batteries, new ones. So if you hear a beep or a chirp coming from your smoke detector, it needs to be serviced with a 9-volt battery. Please take your time to check. And this is a family public service announcement.
There you go.
Well, thank you, Dan Lamar.
Way to make this about you, Dan.
I don't even know who that is, but all of a sudden I feel like I am really like PBS, and that was just like a commercial break. I mean, this is how it starts, okay?
Should we give him the, this has been a test, only a test?
Yes.
This has been an actual emergency.
Exactly. I was like, holy moly, I hope nothing happened to them. So, All right. So we were at the Kennedy Center, and it was amazing in Washington D.C. Let's get back on the history track.
Okay.
I have such ADD. Can you tell?
Hey, before we get super back into history, how's the?
God, talk about whatever you want to. I just was.
No, jerk. How's your audio? You're able to hear us okay?
Yeah, jerk. Can you hear me?
All right, fantastic.
Are you guys sharing an ear pod thing, or do you just have it on speaker now?
You're just on. It could be adjusted if need be, but
no, it sounds great. You guys sound great. You sound amazing. You're awesome. But yeah, read us some more. You know what's funny that just reminded me of? My dad gave me a box of letters. He was in the Navy, the Air Force, but he never went up in a plane. I don't remember the whole story if he was afraid, but he wound up working behind a desk, but he was in the Air Force and he wrote letters to like girls, like women back and forth. And he gave me this whole box of letters. And my daughter and I sat there one night and we were like reading them. And all of a sudden I'm like starting to realize, I'm like, I hope there's no, sketches in there or anything. Like, I mean, what is I don't want to see anything.
Right.
I don't want to know.
It'd be like an old-timey, old-fashioned photographer. You like think of the effort that had to go back into sending a dick pic back in the day.
Exactly. Think about that.
A plume of smoke pops out and everybody's good to go.
Yeah, you have to do it with your Brownie Instamatic or something.
Exactly. A bird like crashes and dies because they're like shocked at like whatever it is.
Well, can I ask you, without giving away any sort of personal details, what was, because I do think that one of my long-term relationships I was in was our initial courting period. I was out at sea a lot and we would email back and forth to each other. And I think that made us very close because you can really get to know each other that way. So
yeah,
it's kind of lost via text message because now most guys think you up with a question mark is, poetry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know. It's crazy. I'm doing another show with Suzanne Linfante. We started doing just like some fun videos and we're like, we'll put it on its own page so that we're not like flooding our stuff. And it's about quarantine dating 2020. I've never had more people join a page faster than anything. And I think it's because they think that we know something. I want to be like, hello, I'm next to stuffed animals in my kid's old bedroom on a three times a day I'm on because this is my now relationship is being live on Facebook.
It's
Go ahead.
This is the first time my father's ever been happy to see what women I'm looking at online. But how's Suzanne doing? My father knows. You've seen her at Tierney's and stuff before.
Absolutely.
She's doing really well. She's doing well. Everybody's doing well. I walked with Suzanne Stein today. So I still do my podcast. I do Girls Gone Green with Tracy on Wednesdays. We just started doing 2 weeks ago. We're doing a new format because there's no football right now. And like, what are you going to talk about with the impending doom of no football season, perhaps? And I know just about as much of football as I do American history. I like the beer and the game there when I'm there.
Right.
I like to go to the battlefields, but I don't know stats and stuff. But
did you see yesterday they had it was Peyton Manning and Tom Brady were golfing against each other?
Really?
Yeah, they were doing a charity golf thing with the two QBs and
Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
How bad did they get their butts kicked? Because Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods are pretty amazing.
Well, they split it up perfect. It was Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady versus Tiger Woods and Peyton.
Well, they want to put like Tom Brady with friggin' it's like cheater and like cheater. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you put those two together, that's it. Nobody's staying married and no one's getting a friggin' football field with air. I can tell you that.
I wonder if that's why they specifically went with those pairings so that you couldn't
see it.
Cheater.
Yeah.
Like double cheaters.
No, that's wild. But it was very fun, and it was good to have something like that to watch. And then the trash talk, because I can't watch golf, Donna, but if Charles Barkley was doing commentary on it, I would watch it all the time.
That's pretty good. I love golf. You don't golf? Do you guys golf at all?
Yeah.
This is
love it.
Now, if I can't put the ball in the clown's nose at the end of the game to win a free game, I'm out.
I love it. Yeah.
Windmill. That's about my speed.
Oh, Nancy said, didn't Tom Brady split his pants?
He sure did.
He did?
Yep. He actually was right after he had this amazing. I think he had a birdie on one of the holes, and as soon as
he back in the front after that birdie, he's so excited.
He bent he bent over to get his ball back out of the hole, and you watched his pants split, and he had to play the rest of the game in rain pants. So,
well, he's used to it from New England. He's used to like a lot of wet weather.
Yes, that was the thing, because everyone's like, my initial instinct is because Peyton Manning has the tougher guy looking face. They're like, oh, Peyton's probably used to this. And you remember, wait, he played indoors his entire run in Indy. Yeah. So
exactly. All right, what else you got for us in that wonderful book of education?
For those who don't know, my father didn't really get to hear too much of this, but this is the book. I thought this was good to know here. Underneath the start of the book, which is, again, Public Affairs, What About Girls? This was by the U.S. military, okay?
What era? I mean, this is the first I'm seeing this.
See, if you had,
just tell it.
All right.
In short, this book was this was cousin Larry, Uncle Paulie's cousin.
Oh, okay.
Brought this home from when his time in the military. So
okay.
Me and him got along because we were both Navy guys. He's since passed away, and now Uncle Paul has all this shit, so he gave it to me.
Cool.
So here we go. The missing men in line. While you're being treated, you are a liability to your country. All right. So this is how in 1942, a sizable army was demobilized by venereal diseases. So check this one out. The missing man in the front line. 7 million man days were lost. 7 million, Donna.
7 million.
Man days were lost to the American army in World War I as a result of venereal diseases.
Oh my God. I could just only imagine that strip club, how pissed the manager was, because let me tell you, I don't think any of those girls were going around the pole with a burning crotch.
No. Absolutely not. So poor Rosie the Riveter probably out there sitting there. No
wonder she was so angry. She was like this. She was like, I'm going to get you for the syphilis. That's what it was. Can you imagine that, though? 7 million?
It's again, that's the man days, and then the next line they have in there was how many people would have, how many more people would have died at Guadalcanal if people didn't practice safe sex.
I guess there is no march for syphilis because that would be uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it's by the way, I want to let you know, Donna, because this is it's softer times. Okay, it's softer times now, but they didn't have. Maybe they seemed meaner back in the day, but there is a chapter here called "Don't Blame the Girls Too Much." Okay,
oh my God.
Not your guys' fault.
Thank you. I love that. Now I feel so much like weight has been lifted off of me.
There you go. We won't blame you too much for being a female, right?
There is a subculture of that still to this day because the biggest Navy base in the world is Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh, whoa.
And girls who live down there, they kind of know that if they marry a Navy guy, you can marry a dumb 19-year-old kid if he thinks he's in love with you. And I remember one night at a bar in Mayport, Florida, where I was stationed the first go around, right inside of Jacksonville. We were talking to a couple of girls, and I was like, "Oh, I just made E4," and she goes, "Oh, wow, that means you make this much, and you're about to get housing allowances."
Stop it.
And I was like, "Oh."
She had all facts and figures.
Yeah, I was like, "All right, so is this how I meet my kid's mother?" All right.
Wow, I guess it's a cultural thing. I mean, if you want to get out of Virginia, that's not the worst way, you know.
Yeah, Virginia covers syphilis.
Well, that's why Virginia is for lovers. They didn't say they were protecting themselves. They just said they were.
Wrap that rascal.
Exactly. So I want to ask you, LP.
Yeah.
I've seen you at so many comedy shows since I've met KP through comedy and everything. He's really amazing. And I know that you were just the other day at you were at Vinnie Brand's room, right? I still couldn't hear that. You know that, right? It was frozen. I heard all of Vinnie Brand. I heard a band, and then it got to you, and it was just like, I was like, he's popping and locking up there now. It was just very interesting.
They said the last couple minutes of my set came through, and then they told me they're going to put it back up. But that's about the luck I have with comedy. Yeah,
but you're very, very funny. I think you are one of my favorite roasters. Not that I know a lot of them, but you have a very, I don't know, you have a certain way about roasting that I admire. I personally, I'm too nervous to roast people. I'm afraid of hurting people's feelings.
Get some good zingos in.
You'd be good at it, trust me, Donnie. We just need to get you somebody you hate. You know, like I don't want to say any names, but let's invent a name so we don't make a Natty bumper car.
No, he's so sweet. He's a sweetie. I couldn't do that. I don't even know, because I think it's like once you go to the dark side, which is what I think it is when you roast people, it's like hard to come back.
I don't get booked for many clean kids shows. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't either. I have to be careful when I read my stories that I don't slip up.
What stories are you reading?
Oh my God, there's so many.
Did you read The Stinky Cheese Man yet?
No, I don't know that one.
Oh, it's the greatest.
How about Captain Underpants? That's always
Yes, and I have Aliens Love Underpants right over there. Not the illegal ones though. Just I don't know who they are, but I will tell you this. I was reading these books, right? I don't pre-read them. I don't, because I just kind of feel like, I want it to be more real, like when I'm going through it with the kids. And I admit it when I have like a story that maybe I trip over. But the other day, this one stopped me in my tracks. It's called Buffy's Revenge. I'm reading this book, and literally this mean dog winks. Listen, winks. All right? Look at him. He looks like he's up to no good, right? He's like this. And on the next page, he's pissed off because there's a really cute dog that came to visit that he's like not really into. So he decides to take the hair out of the dog.
Whoa.
It's a children's book. I'm like sitting there and I'm like reading, and up until that point, it was just, like the page before is Buffy was prettier than Vera. It's true. So Vera had a thought. She knew what to do. And I'm like doing all that with the kids. And I go, she yanked and she pulled and she tugged and we are not finishing this book. Is exactly how I did it.
Yeah. Donna, just one thing. Sometimes you got to look at the author. Anything Michael Vick has written is not typically for the kids.
Right. That might not end well.
Well, this and Beatrix Potter. The other day I read A Tale of Puddle Duck or something like that. And at the end, it's like a fox is there. And it's like trying to like lure the duck in to kill the duck. But you don't really like get that. Well, maybe you guys would. I didn't really get that. So I'm like reading the book. I'm like trying to do all these voices and stuff. And the next thing you know, this dog from the farm goes to rescue and like kills the fox, comes out to tell the duck that everything's all right with like guts hanging out of its mouth. And I'm like, oh my God, like I can't even show this picture to these kids. I was like, oh.
Well, you might want to think about maybe reading it first before you read it to the kids.
I know, but I'm going to have to get up earlier in the morning, and it's like.
What time of day do you read to the kids?
10 to 11 every day.
And what's the age group of the kids?
You know what? I have an 8-year-old that I know is on every day. She communicates with me. She's my friend's daughter. And then I have a ton of adults. I think I have a lot of people that are, quarantining home alone. I do wear a onesie that looks like a unicorn. So, I mean, it's kind of like, you never know. Today, I had a Batman one on. Today, we talked about heroes, superheroes, and the hero that lies within you. And we did an honor, like I talked about honoring our veterans.
Right.
And, just to not make it like I'm a school teacher, we read stuff about, like the first one for the little kids, we talked about the Navy. And I had, like, I was trying to talk about all the branches of military. And then all of a sudden we ended with DC Comics.
Okay.
And I had a profound moment where I realized that there are five. Do you know that? Like main people, like Superman, Batman. Wait a minute. Let me look at them. It's Green Lantern, The Flash, Batman, Superman, and Aquaman. And I'm like, wait a minute. Do they represent what goes on as far as the military? Do you guys know that?
There you go. Yeah. So where does Superman fall, though? Is he the Air Force or is he the Army?
Well, I mean,
Aquaman would be the Navy, but
right, exactly. Aquaman would be the Navy. I don't know, but
Aquaman your Coast Guard, Mel.
Unless the green is the Army.
That's interesting because You know what I would think too, by the way? You would think that Wonder Woman would get dropped in there with
Not yet. She had to wait a few years. You know what I'm saying? Don't ask, don't tell. I don't know. I don't know why, but when I was reading it, I literally was like, reading and there's 5 and all. I was like, what? Like, I swear I learned so much just from reading these books to the kids.
There you go.
I do. I find it really interesting, but
You're starting school all over again. You're doing a refresher course.
I'm going to read the history book to them next. One of my favorite books to read was Go the F to Sleep, though. Did you ever hear that one?
Yep.
That's crazy.
A cousin Megan favorite. By the way.
There's a video out. I did that one, but Oh, by the way, look at just for you there, LP.
Way.
Hey, look at that hair.
Donna, what are you holding a picture of David Lynch up for?
That's not nice. That's me. So, well, let me ask you this. What would you like to talk about in closing? We have a few more minutes. I appreciate your time, but I really want to know, is there anything you want to talk about? Plug your podcast, Dad? What do you want to talk about?
Well, we are on American Loser. That if somebody's looking for something to listen to tune in. If you have a love of history, tune in. If you don't have a love of history, tune in, because we try to make history fun. I mean, again, we're just taking maybe that one line that was in your high school history book and nobody really paid attention to it. But when you scratch the surface and you start to get into that, it's like, holy crap, there's a whole lot more interest to this than just, this guy won the battle and we went on from there. It's not just dates in history that you had to memorize to be able to pass the test on Friday, that they're human beings, that the human story is pretty fascinating. And as I said before, the interconnection. And American Loser, too, isn't just about loser people. It could be a concept. It could be any number of different things. That it's not just out and out losers. And oftentimes it's somebody who truly was a hero, but due to circumstances beyond their control, they might have been forgotten about or met an untimely end. And as I say, it's the story of us, really, that we just kind of zero in on the American story and all the interconnects within that. And what I find that fascinating too is a lot of the crap that we're going through right now. People think, oh, geez, we've never seen anything like this before, and who do you believe? Do you believe this one or that one? Is it fake news? Is it not fake news? And hey, that crap's been going on
Forever.
Forever. And oftentimes the history book gets written by one person who had a slant on things for their own personal gain, and you never really heard the other side of the story. And
that's very interesting.
It's more fascinating than the story that we might know of.
History is not boring. That some of the teachers make it that way. So.
You know what? I have to tell you, it's so funny that you say that, because it's not even that I found it boring. I just probably had ADD and was never even like, back then you just dealt with it. And I had a hard time focusing. So to try to like memorize things like that, it just didn't work for me, because maybe you're right. My teacher might not have been as compelling. Sorry if you're watching, you're probably not. You probably forgot all about me. But it's wild, because as you get older, and the way that you're talking about history and exactly what you said about how it repeats itself and how nothing is new, everything is history.
Right.
Completely fascinating, and makes it more compelling than ever when you were a kid, because as a kid, you just don't have as much interest because you don't realize how much it affects your life.
Right. You don't have any background yourself to really base what's going on right now. That it's all brandy new for you. You've never heard that before. But as we get a little bit older, we start to see things, the cycle goes around and around, or the pendulum swings back and forth. Again, what we were experiencing 50 years ago with our parents, or what our parents' generation was dealing with, is now we're dealing with it. So
exactly. And I mean, just because we have one thing, modern technology, the internet, it's my analogy to what you're talking about, because history, I told you, I really don't know tons of stuff, but is like, you think we're the first people to ever experience, somebody, like you said, in history, Sickles or whatever, shooting somebody about, extramarital affairs? No, we're not the same, now it's just that we have the internet. So when it happens, somebody was probably recording it, and then it gets zipped on out into the, the web, and you see it.
Right.
And it's wild when you think about how many things have happened that were able to go unrecorded, undocumented. And imagine if we knew more about it. It'd be interesting.
Something cool I thought you might get a kick out of is where a lot of words and terms come from.
Yeah.
So, History Channel, who needs to get on our podcast already, they have a 3-part series on President Grant.
Okay.
Just started a minute ago. And we have a DVR. We're going to fast forward through commercials.
My God, they want to get off, guys. They want to go see Grant.
But he's in a weird way, I've heard the case made that he's one of the first modern presidents. So get a load of this.
Tell me.
I know for a fact you'll like this. So he used to go to this one particular hotel. And I've had some people tell me this is true. Other people say that it's like a folk story, but it's a good story, so we'll go with it. He used to go to this one particular hotel when he was president for a cigar and a brandy every night. And if you waited in the hotel when you knew he was on his way over there, you could casually have a conversation with the president. So if you had something from like your business or something, like, hey, Mr. President, you have a cigar, so I know you're not going anywhere. Why don't we talk real quick? And you could get a couple minutes of the president's time by hanging out in the hotel lobby. The term lobbyists came from that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
pretty cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we try to really capture and figure out that, hey, where did that term actually come from? And then when you start, again, doing a little digging, doing a little scratching, you find some of that stuff. Well, that's pretty neat.
If you were president back then, the people who were trying to suck up to the president would now be known as Solanists.
Solanists,
right?
Or gossipists.
Yeah.
That's what they would be, or Veists, because Donna Vee. But the one thing I couldn't find that I wanted to show you, because I thought you might think it was very cool. My grandmother, again, this is her pin, right? It's like super old and like yellowed and whatever, but she always wore like these, stick pin type things.
Right.
This is like her little American flag pin. So I'll honor her and wear a lot of her stuff when it's holidays and whatever. She has an Ike pin with like the yellow, it's like the enameled pin, and it just says Ike in the center. Right. And I remember like wearing it to work one day, because I have a guy, Joe, that comes in. You've met Joe. Haven't you met Joe, KP, when you were there for a haircut? He's a Korean War vet, comes in and he brings the horoscopes in. We call him Horoscope Joe.
No, I was there. A homeless guy named Rich Carucci came in.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But it's so funny, because I love to be able to talk to him about his experiences. And I called him today to check up on him today. He's like, I think he's, 86, 88, maybe.
Yeah.
And such a sweet guy, very funny. And he was like, I felt so bad. I was like, man, is there a way to socially distance and put him in my car, and like I could drive him around the parade route, because I knew he was like so upset that he couldn't run the parade this year. Yeah. And he asked me to drive the Grand Marshal around last year. And I said, wow, that's such an honor for Memorial Day. And I got really excited, because he was looking for somebody that has a convertible. But mine is a Volkswagen. And the guy was like captured by the Germans, and it got nixed. He's like, I don't know if he's going to really want to be driving around in a Volkswagen Beetle. I'm like, all right, well, okay. I still would do it if you want me to. That's the first thing I forgot.
Now, just what you said, Donna, about this guy was a Korean War vet. I mean, kids today, the general public, I shouldn't put it on kids, but just the general public today have no idea about the Korean War. It's the forgotten war that, how did we get involved with that, and what was all the ins and outs and circumstances and the different people that fought and died there. And then we have absolutely no clue what really went on in Korea. And that war is still going on. Actually, it was never really declared a war. It was a quote unquote, a police action, because Congress never really declared war on that. So officially, it was never a war. It was as I said, a police action. But there's a lot of very interesting stories in there that the consequences still affect us today. And Joe Average walking around the street today have absolutely no clue.
I didn't even know my last name was Average, but you guys are amazing. I had such a good time. Did you have a good time?
Absolutely.
Good.
It's good to see you, lady. Thank you for the invite, by the way. Very kind of you.
Now I want to go binge listen to your stuff. I want to learn about history, and I'm going to write a paper, and I'll submit it.
That's to say, we try to make it fun for you, so there you go.
You should be a history teacher.
That thought has crossed my mind in the past, but too much stuff that you had to do.
I hear you, man. I would love to teach kids.
I was a teacher, but not a history teacher.
Oh, you were a teacher?
Yeah, I was. My former life.
Woodshop.
Woodshop?
Yeah, I started out as an industrial arts teacher and then retooled myself to become a technology education teacher. Thank you very much. So
I love that.
It was being able to teach kids how to think, problem solve, and then actually design and build a solution to a problem that they might be facing. So it was fun. It was good. Hands-on learning,
I wanted to join auto mechanics. My mother said no. She always disputes this with me, but it's the truth, because I loved the idea of being able to take an engine apart and putting things back together. It just fascinated me. As a matter of fact, I saved my 1979 Monte Carlo because by accident, my power steering was feeling a little wonky. So I went and got power steering fluid, only I accidentally put it in my brake line because I didn't know the proper spot. And I was going to a party and we were partaking in adult things. And I was driving down the road and my brakes went all the way to the floor. And I thought, wow, that worked faster than I thought. And then I was like, no, it wasn't.
You're not slowing down yet, though.
So I wound up having to the next morning take it down the street to like the food town. I siphoned out all the fluid.
Wow.
Seriously, siphoned it out because it's my only car and refilled it with brake fluid. Drove home from Union, New Jersey with my hazards on, right to the auto mechanic and told him what happened. He blew out the lines, put new fluid, and he goes, I can't believe you had enough smarts to do that. He said, what made you do that? I think it was cartoons really that like showed me the
Scooby-Doo did that once, didn't he?
Yeah. And he goes, you saved your car. He goes, because the lubricant and the oil base that's in the power steering fluid would have destroyed the lines and all the rubber bearings or whatever it's called in the brake line. He goes, you would have literally ruined your entire car. He goes, had you not done that? I'm like, what up?
There you go.
See? I am the riveter. But yeah, but I thank you so much. I mean, it was a pleasure beyond pleasure. And again, KP, whether you say you did or not, thank you for your service, especially today.
Thank you. It's I just saw in the comments here too. Quick shout out, just a thumbs up to our pal Sean Morton. He popped in there.
Yay! Hi, Shawnee.
My boy, even though he's a Celtics fan. And then someone asked for the podcast link, so I'm more than happy to send that to you. I would love for anybody who's interested to check the show out. It's my passion project.
What I'll do is I'll put the link, attach it to this show. And then my aunt said there's so much patriotism when I was younger, and it's not evident today. It is sad. It is very sad that there's not as much patriotism.
Tell Aunt Cecilia to come hang out with some of my buddies. I run with a good bunch.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds great. And that concludes Camp Quarantine for tonight, May 25th, 2020. Thank you so much for celebrating Memorial Day with us. Thank you so much. Go check out American Loser, even though they're winners. And I'm Donna Vee, and this is KP&LP Burke. Thanks so much for being here, you guys.
Thanks, Donna.